Hey, so I thought I'd do a video for my first ever subscriber, and he's a bit of a car enthusiast, and he likes this particular car, and I've had this car for a few years. This is a 2000 Mitsubishi RVR, so I'm going to do a bit of a walk around, show you the car. So if for whatever reason you're interested to know about the 2000 Mitsubishi RVR, I'm going to show you mine. And keep in mind it's 2023 now, so this car is 23 years old, so you know you're gonna see the bumps and bruises. Now, I've just had this car cleaned and polished, and it's got 4 brand new tyres on it, so it's not going to look much better than what it is right now. These are the wheels. You'll see that there's sort of like this kind of pitting on the wheels, and it always happens on the front wheels when they're in the front position here. You know, you get a bit of rust and corrosion and stuff coming out of the front disc brakes there, so I'm always cleaning and you know, scrubbing the rust off of the front wheels. So you got disc brakes on the front, and drum brakes on the back. Okay, I'm going to show you the damage. There is damage on this car. I'm going to show you the damage. First damage. Yeah, look at this front bumper. It doesn't look quite right, does it? It doesn't look quite even. And it's got a big ding here. Now, I did that somehow. Somehow I did that. I banged into something, because it wasn't like that when I bought it. Somebody in a parking lot did that. I did this, and that's me. Somebody in the parking lot did that. Left a scrape there and then didn't tell me. I did all this. There's scratches on the bonnet here, and that's from me going diving and putting my spearfishing gear on the bloody bonnet where there's gravel and sand and stuff. Bad idea. That's me doing that. There's a bit of a weird scratch along the side here, goes all the way down. I don't know what caused that. I might have rubbed up against something, or maybe somebody keyed me. I don't know what that was, how that happened. And again, big scratch down here, and I didn't do that, at least not that I know of. I think somebody else did that. Again, in a parking lot. Paint fading away here. This was like this when I bought it. Along the top of the bumper here, paint's all chipped and cracked and stuff. Paint's chipping and cracking away from the rear badge here. Top of the back fender, paint's chipping and cracking away. Wasn't like that when I bought it, but that's just age. It's just happening. That corner's not too bad. I don't think there's anything there. Oh yeah, I did this. There's a bit of a dent down there. I did that. I had a kayak, a blue kayak, an inflatable kayak with a wooden transom on it for an electric trolling motor, and I was pulling it along the side of the car, scraped it along the side of the car, so I did that. And yeah, that's pretty much all the damage that I can think of. It's not too bad. And tyres. It's all brand new tyres. Like, I got these tyres yesterday. Dayton DT30s. Just cheap tyres, because I'm only planning on having this car for another 1 to 2 years. Okay, roof rack. Now, this 2000 Mitsubishi RVR, it comes with this like roof rack rail. Right here where my fingers are, this is actually a roof rack rail. But I went to the local Mitsubishi dealership, and I went to a local roof rack sales place, and they both said to me, oh, no, you can't get a roof rack for it. Like, you can't get a roof rack to fit in those roof rack rails, because when they sell the car, they either sell it with the roof rack rails installed or not, but you can't buy them as an aftermarket. And so the roof rack place basically says, well, we can do this instead. We can sell you this one. This is a Rhino rack. and they actually put this rail here and they drill into your roof and they rivet it on, and it's a permanent modification. So that's what they ended up doing. So the local place that sells these rhino racks, good roof rack, you know, they drilled into the roof, riveted the thing on, the rails, both sides, and then I went and bought this Pentair roof box. Honestly, this Pentair roof box is bloody good roof box. Like, I've used this several times. The amount of stuff you can put in here, like you can carry like all your camping gear and stuff. Quite a good roof box. Holds a lot of stuff. Okay, inside the back of the car. Got a wee bit of clutter in here. So I've actually got this green piece of plywood that I put in the back here to actually protect the bottom, but under there we got their tools and stuff like that. We've actually got the spare tyre under the car. And we've got our rear seats. These actually fold forwards like that. Luckily, after 23 years, these struts are still good as new. Not always the case with rear hatch vehicles. And one of the things I really love about this car is the sliding doors. It's a bit like a van. And you know, you've got this really spacious interior. As I just said before, the old seats, they fold down. Now they fold down like that, but they don't fold like flat, so you can't use the back of the bed like the back of the car like a bed. But they do fold flat. And on the sides, you've got a cup holder, smoker's ashtray, not that that ever gets used, and like just a little storage compartment just for stuff. And when you give the car a bit of a clean out, you got to sort of pull these mat things out. They're not too hard to pull out and give those a bit of a clean. And yeah, so that's the back of the car. Front of the car, the old pockets down there on the inside of the door panel. That's the windows. Now you notice it's only got two, right? This is left side, this is right side. So this is this window here, but this window here doesn't go down. This is fixed. This doesn't go down at all, and it's tinted. So that's a little bit of a downside, like if you want that rear window to go down. We've got our controls here for our mirrors. I think that's a headlight setting. I'm not actually sure. I've never used it. Never used this thing either. If you know what it is, let me know. And yeah, there's the pedals. It's an automatic vehicle. It's got a little wee cubby hole here. I put like little bags with change and stuff for parking meters and stuff. There's the bonnet release. That thing is like fuse box thing. Access to a fuse box. There's the ignition, indicators. Oh yeah, now in the middle of the vehicle here between the seats, it actually goes down to the floor, which is good. It's actually quite spacious, but I always end up having these boxes here with clutter and little rubbish bin and all this kind of stuff. One of the downsides to this vehicle is a bit old, so it does not have reversing camera. Like you would have to mount it somewhere. I don't know where you would mount it. You probably have to sacrifice your music player. This is Auto Transmission's local transmission service place. So this transmission was serviced about 3 years ago. That's Tony's, which is the tyres. Got new tyres recently. Oil changes, got new oil recently. And this is Warrant of Fitness. This is what you have to have in New Zealand. New Warrant of Fitness, which is your mechanical vehicle inspection. Alright, now I've recently had to pay a couple of grand's worth of money to have vehicle repairs done for this thing. One issue that it has now is the engine light is staying on, and that's the engine light there. That's because the oxygen sensor is faulty. It needs to be replaced. Yeah, so this is a 2000 Mitsubishi RVR. In terms of like mechanical problems, like they say every car has its own problems, I'm actually not really sure about this one. You know, what are the specific problems, but like as far as the engine goes, I've never really had any major problems. I had one of the coils on the ignition was like not firing a couple of years ago, so I had to get a new ignition coil. And so at that same time I just swapped out the spark plugs as well. And I've had to pay for all of the suspension repairs that you would expect to pay for. So things like recently had to do rear trail arm bushings, sway bar, swing arm things, whatever the hell they're called. I imagine at some point in the future I'll end up having to do you know, brake hoses and CV joints and that kind of stuff. One of the things I was quite lucky about was that I've put about 50,000 Ks on this car right now. It's up to 227,000, so I got it at 175,000. And when I bought it, it had just had its cam belt done, so I'm quite lucky about that. You know, to buy a vehicle just after the cam belt was done, that's pretty rare. Yeah, so I'll pop the hood and I'll show you the engine. So I'm not really much of a mechanic, so I can't really sort of tell you like, you know, oh, this is this thing and this is that thing and all that stuff. I have had to get a couple of new batteries. I guess that's probably one of the things. There's probably some sort of issue with this car somewhere in its electrical system, because this battery is only about a year old, and the battery that I had before that only lasted for about 2 years. And you know, it was building up a lot of the crust on the terminals and stuff. One good thing I'd say about this Mitsubishi is that they you know, all of the caps and stuff, now that's getting a bit low, that's the windscreen wiper fluid. They do a pretty good job of actually labeling everything. You know, like there's power steering fluid, engine oil, like it literally says it in English. I know Subarus are like that as well. You know, they label the caps and stuff, coolant. Yeah, that's the engine. Okay, I'm gonna show you one quirky thing about this passenger side door here, and it relates to the fuel cap, because you've got the fuel cap there. Now there's actually an internal mechanism which goes from there's like a little push button inside the fuel cap, and it goes down to like a latch in the door, and the reason it's there is to prevent you from opening the door if you've got your fuel cap open, to, you know, stop you damaging the fuel cap. So typically this is how you open the door. It opens all the way up and there's no problem. But there's a little latch down here. It's difficult to see. It's down there somewhere. But that little latch prevents the door from opening up. And I paid like 150 bucks for the, you know, Mitsubishi mechanics locally, you know, the dealership place, to actually have a look at it, and they just said, oh, it's just this problem here. So I'm not going to open this up, but you open up the fuel cap and there's a little wee button, and what's supposed to happen is the metal gate, when it closes, it pushes on that button, and when it pushes on that button, that's like the signal to the door. It's like, okay, it's okay to open the door. But sometimes that button doesn't activate properly, it gets like stuck, because 23-year-old car. Then you go to open this and it goes clunk, it gets halfway open and it won't open anymore. And so basically the problem is the button's getting stuck because it's an old vehicle. So like, what are you going to do? Are you going to pay money, or are you going to like just work around it? So I work around it. So whenever I fill it up with petrol, that little button that's in there, I just give it a wee push a few times, make sure it's loose, it's been pushed, then I close the cap. then I got to open the door and there's no problems. Alright, so that's the 2000 Mitsubishi RVR. I'm going to be getting rid of this vehicle in the next 1 to 2 years just because I need a four-wheel drive vehicle because I'm going to be getting a boat, and so when you're launching boats up and down boat ramps, it's better to have four-wheel drive. So I'll be looking to get gold standard for me and my budget. I'd like to get like a Subaru Outback, probably like a 2010 model or later, but may end up having to get another SUV like a Hyundai Santa Fe or a Mitsubishi Outlander or something. Here in New Zealand, the thing that we do is we buy Japanese cars, basically because, you know, the Japanese, when they make cars, they sort of standardize the parts, and Japan is geographically closer to New Zealand than European car factories or American car factories, and so on and so on and so on. So you know, the thing to do when it makes, you know, logistical sense is to get a Japanese car when you live down here in New Zealand. That's the RVR.